I've decided to partner with Brainz Magazine. Someone reached out to me a few weeks ago. I didn't answer. I left it a week while I was still thinking about it. They then followed up, expressing their interest in me. But I mean, look, I've done my research on it. I'm not the only one. It can happen to a few people. But from my understanding, they have a select committee. They don't just accept everybody. Now, that's what they say. Now, look, I'm not a naive individual. I recognize maybe more people get offered than is said. More people get accepted than is said. It could be, or it might be they're picky. But I can't worry about what other people are doing. All I've got to think about is what is right for me. So it does cost to join this. Now, if we just get it up a minute. I have done my research to a degree, and I've just had a 45-minute video meeting with the person one of the people that decide. And it was a really interesting meeting. You know, they did their research before I spoke. You know, they've gone on my website and checked out my work. And again, maybe they do that to everyone, and it's just an easy sales pitch. And I get that. Again, there's not a naivety in me. It's understanding where they're coming from, but it's understanding where I'm coming from. What is it I need? And does it tick the boxes for what I need? I like creating content. It comes easy to me. I hate self-promotion, and I don't like marketing. So I can do the work, but I don't enjoy the process of distributing it. I don't like social media. I get fed up engaging there. I get fed up having to create smaller clips of the content I create just to an audience who have a short attention span can consume my content. I don't like that. It takes me a long time to create those small clips just to make it easier for others who don't have the attention span to watch the rest or read my books, you know? So for me, that's irritating. I don't like that. And I say I'm not good at self-promotion. I'm not a marketing person. I could do it, but I don't like it. I'm stubborn. So that's my limitation. That's what I could do with some help. I could do with someone helping me get exposure. I don't mind putting the work in, but I can do some help in that regard, you know? So for my needs, it fits in what I want to do. So where do I see myself at a certain stage? Where can I go to next? What platform can help me achieve that? These are things I ask for myself. And that's where they fill the niche for me. Now, this isn't going to be practical for everybody because everybody's at different stages. You know, I've done 7 books. There's more coming. So for me, the work's done. I just need the eyes on it now. I need it to help me benefit and, of course, the audience to benefit, which is kind of what I said in the meeting. I said that's why I see it, is it's a mutual benefit, you know. I gain while they're gaining because they're growing and investing in themselves. So, yeah, so like I say, if you're not at that stage, it might not make sense. Why would you pay towards something if you're starting out? You're not even ready to collaborate with people. You're not really ready to branch out. You're not ready for an audience. It's going to be a different thing altogether. I think it's user case scenarios, isn't it? Like what benefits someone. So it does come with a fee, and it's a bit, you know, of course, we wish everything was free in life. But, you know, at the end of the day, what it is, you get about 13 articles within the 12-month period. And it costs, it's in dollars, but if you break it down, it's about £90 a month. So I have to pay £90 a month to feature on this magazine, which you would think, that's strange. You shouldn't have to pay. If you take away what you think should be and think about it from a PR point of view, how much would it cost to have a PR company support you? Because a lot of the time, they're going to work, some of them, I'm assuming, would work on percentages. So let's say I had an agent or a manager. They're probably going to want a percentage of the royalties of my books. Now, when you're not doing too well, it's at the beginning stages, you're not really getting the eyes on it. There's not a lot of sales in that regard. You're not, of course, it's going to seem like you're getting their services for free. People are not stupid. So if let's say they got a percentage and it really started picking up, they could make an absolute fortune off the work I've done. So in that regard, me paying a smaller fraction of a fee towards contributing to a magazine with 13 articles within a 12-month period, it gets me exposure. It gets me working and collaborating on different projects that are not just my work. So it's for a different platform. You get a profile. So it helps tie me to other things. And it only takes that one opportunity to give you a breakthrough. So other people could say, you know, it's a waste of money. It's a scam. I wouldn't do that. And then wondering why they're not getting anywhere. Because if we don't invest in ourselves, then who's going to invest in us? So I just think £90 a month for a 12-month period investing in myself, giving myself the chance to get visibility on my work. And like they say in there, it's just the articles you do, even after your membership's finished, it will always be available. So let's say someone's searching mental health problems or something else I decide to write about, and it gets published on their website. Because they're experienced with SEO. See, I'm not. I don't like all that. I'm not good at marketing. Said that. That's my weakness. They're good at that. So let's say I write an article and someone Googles something and it comes up and it gets hit. All of a sudden, the work I do gets exposure. So it gives validity to my work. And then, of course, it'll point towards other things that can support me as a brand. And I like that. Now, in the worst case scenario, okay, you've lost £90 a month, but you'd only spend it on, for instance, it's only, what's the alternative things? I'd rather invest in me and give myself a chance, So that's how I'm seeing it. I am excited about it because I see the potential with it. I know other people maybe see it as throwing money down the drain, but it's up to them. I'm prepared to invest in me, and I know I just need that breakthrough, just need that one opportunity. And it might be that through that you meet people and you collaborate, you feature on each other's work in some way. I mean, I have no expectation in that regard, but you never know what's possible. But for me, there's just multiple layers in terms of like the exposure, being seen, having a profile that's very professional. So it will link to other platforms you have. It will link to my books. It'll have a link to my website, and you can use that as the focal point. And then you can put badges and things to show your association with them. So, for instance, I'll be able to put on my website, there'll be a badge, there'll be some sort of like branding, and I can say that. I can say as featured in Brainz Magazine, So at the top it says get inspired by influential leaders, top entrepreneurs, expert coaches, industry leaders. So even let's say, in the worst case scenario is where they say there's only limited spaces. Let's say they accept anyone that's willing to pay. The reality is not everyone's going to feature because the work has to be good enough to feature. Otherwise it devalues their content, doesn't it? If it's weak. Unless, of course, they've got enhance anybody that decides to contribute. But it has to be approved. So let's say I submit something, it has to be approved, and if they feel it needs to be altered in any way, they'll have to alter it for SEO reasons, so it helps the search engines find the content. But that's the other side of it, People don't work for free. So let's say I want exposure, I want to enhance my brand and image, I want to get noticed a bit more, and I want to contribute in other sides of society and different platforms. Well, this is a good entry to that. And like they are having to provide some tools for that to work. Now, perhaps it's a higher cost than you would say, but it's for me, it's an opportunity. So that's really where I'm up to, really. Now, look, I'm not an idiot. So, for instance, this guy I've seen do some podcast work. I haven't seen a lot of his work, and maybe they've paid him to feature, so it looks like he's part of the brand. Everybody else that's doing it, or maybe he's been successful off the back of featuring in places like this and other ones. You just don't know the ins and outs of why they're there. But I'm not stupid enough to think he still contributes. Reality is everybody has to start somewhere. And like I say, the meeting went well. I liked it. And again, I know people can say things just to impress you, and I can't be sure how the next meeting goes for him, who he talks to, and all those things. But for me, it was nice, and the feedback was nice. He said, yeah, your energy was nice. He recognized how comfortable it was, how easy it was to talk to me and things like that. And my responses. So the nice thing is he was relaying things back that I was doing. And that makes you feel noticed, doesn't it? Again, I understand how salespeople work, but still, it was still nice. And I was providing my insights on what I'm expecting and how it would work for me. And I understand that if someone else had a different expectation, it might not fit for them. So like what I want out of it does work for me. I understand it's a financial investment, and it's, in an ideal world, you wouldn't be having to pay. But it's not an ideal world. Like, you've got to think, if you're going to spend money, but when we spend money, I know this is the sense I have though. If we're going to spend money, what would you rather spend? What would you want to spend your money on? Because personally, I would rather always invest in me. So if there's a chance that something's going to give me a breakthrough, even if there's a chance it might fail, I'd still rather give myself that chance. So let's say I put the £90 a month in and pay it for 12 months. Let's say I do the articles. They don't really get noticed like I was expecting them to do. it seemed a bit of a money drain in the end. Cut your losses. But alternatively, you put that £90 towards a holiday. Okay, that's nice. It's nice to have a holiday for 2 weeks. Of course it is. But it's a holiday, you know? You can do that any other time. It's not to say you couldn't have a holiday anyway, but let's just say it was at the cost of a holiday. Okay, I can't have a holiday next year. So a lot of people make a deal out of things and exaggerate it. But for me, it will serve a purpose. And hopefully it picks up. I'm hoping it works out. I really am. I've said I'll try and start in May. My finances are too hard at the moment. He was willing to lower the fee a little bit in the meantime, but I was like, even that doesn't help me right now. And I was like, I'm not saying that because I'm trying to make excuses. It's just the circumstance I'm in. If we look towards May, I can commit to that, and then I can get to work because I'd like to start. I would do it now. I would like to start now, but I can't. I don't have the finances right now. I think as we go into April, we've got Easter. I've got time with my daughter. I'm not going to allow things to affect that. So, from my point of view, it makes no sense to try to do anything too early where it puts too much pressure on me and I can't afford it. I don't think it's silly, like £90. When you're doing well, £90 nothing, is it? When life's hard, freaking hell, £90 could do a lot of things. And that's where I'm up to, but I don't expect to be struggling forever. And there has to be a point where we finally just say, I'm investing in me, and it's going to come at a price for a period. But like I say, in the worst case, in another case scenario, I could end up hemorrhaging money to someone trying to exploit the work I've done by taking a percentage of what I've done. But look, I can't show all the information I was given here, but it was really interesting and insightful. And I think anytime you go into any meeting or conversation with people, it's always have an understanding of what you want from it. And I knew going in what it was going to do for me, but it was just hearing it back, and it was just relaying what I wanted, and I explained what I see and how I understand that other people maybe want something else from it, so they don't quite understand. And he was quite appreciative of the fact that I understood what this actually is, rather than be blinded and be frustrated that it's not something else. So ultimately, let's say from two parties here. Let's say from their point of view, they get money every month. So that everybody that contributes, they're getting money from. I think there's some that get it for free, and there might be some that actually make money out of it, but it's rare, and you'd have to do the work they want, and it's just a different kettle of fish. But overall, the more people that contribute towards their platform, the bigger their platform becomes, doesn't it? Because there's more chance of getting noticed on Google and all places. So it becomes this expansive thing. So by having people contribute towards their website, for instance, it builds the articles up. So that's useful to them, helps build their brand up, makes it incentivizes, doesn't it? It makes their more valuable. Also, they're gaining money out of people who are contributors. So again, they're getting money on the one hand, and they're also getting exposure and all sorts. So from their point of view, of course they're benefiting. But it does count. They do still have to do work at their end to provide the tools and also do the editing before it goes on. So they've got staff to do the work. From my point of view, so I understand what they gain from it. I'm not naive. Like I said, from my point of view, though, I get an opportunity to showcase my skills and my work on a different platform. So it's not on my website and it's not in my books. I get to do it elsewhere, and people can judge the work I do there. You also get to see my name and my face attached to that work, and you'll see a professional profile with all the links to social media, like even to my books and things, and all the articles I've done on their website. And I think that'd be really cool. So I've expanded out to another platform. And you take away the cost of it all for a minute. That's really good exposure. From a professional point of view, it's good exposure because it shows that I can work at a professional level elsewhere. So that might make opportunities come. Now, there might be other people that use it, whether they're contributors themselves or whether they're someone that's just reading and consuming the content. They may see an opportunity to collaborate or invest in you. Now, had you not took that opportunity, you wouldn't have got that exposure. And this is ways that I don't have to keep. See, me, I don't like social media. You have to constantly be present there. It drains my energy. I like to create and move on, create and move on. Something like this would allow me to create and not have to keep being there. I can do the work, move on, and then come back another month, do some more, do another article. It won't even take me long to write it. It doesn't take me a day or a few hours. So I contribute, submit, allow them to edit it and make changes to fit the SEO or whatever they're doing. And then another article gets attached to my name. Okay, that's costing me £90 each month. So it's, I understand. I'm not stupid. I get every angle of it, but it just gives me an extra arrow to the bow. I don't know how you word it, but you know what I mean. It just gives you an extra level. So at the moment, I've got all my YouTube videos. I've got my books. I've got things I feature on my website. But it'd be nice to then have an external platform. So yeah, this isn't something where look, if people are hearing this, it's not something where I'm going to be prepared to be taken advantage of by multiple places. If I've committed to something and I'm paying money, I'm not paying money elsewhere as well. This is an opportunity to market yourself. So it's not a case of I'm going to go everywhere else as well, because that's just crazy. But the other side of that is, if you wasn't doing it there, for instance, like if I was to, the alternative is I could spend £90 advertising my books on Amazon. I mean, that's good direct sales for my books, and I get that. And that works. But you've got to think about that. Like, if you're trying to promote yourself in some way, you have to pay somewhere anyway. Like, for instance, you often social media, there's ways to promote your work. You pay to get your work promoted, to get it to the front. And it's just promoting your existing work. And again, you can benefit from that. Of course you can. But I also think it's really nice to have your work on another platform in a professional manner, where it's curated. So that's what I'm saying. You feature on there. They do an exclusive interview. So you get a page somewhere. I don't know what it is, but you get a page dedicated to you where you're introduced. And I think that's pretty cool. So there'd be a Q&A, I think, like where you have an interview, and it'll be written out, your answers to that. Again, I think it's very professional. And it's, I understand there's issues. I'm not stupid. Like, this could be very much curated at the front to, prominent figures, and maybe your content maybe gets a little bit lost. That happens. But they've said, when they make an article, so when you submit the article and they post it, it will go on their social media. It'll get even their emails and things. If you're releasing a new book, you can tell them the book's just released a thing, and they'll do an article to suggest to point people towards that book. Again, it is a bit of PR. Yeah. Anyway, so just different layers to it, really. But yeah, I'm not I'm transparent. I'm not sitting here saying I'm featuring on this. Look what they do. I'm honest about it, but it works for what I need to go to the next level now. So yeah, I mean, this is one side of the website. It's a digital magazine, so these are not in print. I don't know who the people are, to be totally honest. I'm not sure how old these are, because sometimes they can be a little bit older and they just keep them there, because it looks prominent. But you've got this, and then we've got about global digital platform, our numbers. It says organic reach is 3.1 million readers. 125,000 plus social media reach, connect with extension network. 5-star Google reviews. I mean, you're going to get up and downs with anyone. 65 countries. This is interesting, a domain rating, because that's SEO. So that's how much its trustedness with the search engines and whatnot. This says, to be our mission, to be an advocate for human success by providing appealing content that will inspire, empower, and educate people across the world. That's kind of what I do. So it falls in line with the work I do. So it puts me in that conversation, And before that, what you just get missed. People don't know, Without exposure, people don't know who you are. That's the thing. Our vision, to provide the best and most inspiring content in the world. I think that's the two they got. Meet the team. Core values: innovation, personal development, customer obsession, positivity, diversity and inclusion, credibility, integrity, adaptability, respect, fun, making real impact. We are dedicated to creating a culture that places social and environmental responsibility at the top of the agenda. Yeah, anyway. So there's all sorts of things here. So of course you can like, so I got an email like sort of, reaching out to me. And I know some people have, you can see a Reddit forum. I don't go by all the negativity. There's certain people that are negative. As soon as they hear what it is, they've got negative about, because they just thought, because some of them are journalists or they write for magazines and things, so they expect it just to be another source to be able to contribute. With the fact that you pay is a problem to them. For me, it's exposure, and it's a professional way to show who you are. And of course, if a platform grows later on and you've got in there earlier, It's been since 2019, so they've been going for like 7 years at this point. But let's say in 10 years' time, it's still, it's so rapidly increasing. You was there at a certain period, and your work still can be seen, And I think that's impressive. So yeah, you can. But yeah, so anyway, when I got the email, they were really interested to talk to me, but I was like, no, I don't know. And then they followed up again, and it seemed quite personalised. But again, it might just be generic. But the fact they kept coming, I thought was interesting. Anyway, so when they sent me a link, it just sent me here, and then they said, if you email, let me know, and I'll try and speed up your application because I think you'll be great for the platform. And then when I spoke to the guy, he's also said, I think you'll be great for what we do based on your answers. The fact that, he relayed back things I said. But again, I know they might say that to everyone, but I thought he was a nice enough guy. And you just fill this form in, really, and then they'll get back to you with a appointment, and then maybe you get approved. I don't know. See, I don't know what the approval rate is. He said there's 900 applicants, but I mean, for a certain period, but how many get approved, I've got no idea. Yeah. But it's just, for me, I'm happy to progress. I just need the finances to be able to do it because I think it'll be a useful way for me to advance what I already do. I think because like for me, I think once these books are finished this year, I've got one more. I've got the Freedom Politics coming out middle of the year, and then follow up the second spiritual book at the end of the year. That takes me to 9 books. I don't really have anything specifically planned beyond that, and I don't know if I'm going to. I might have to take a break from books. So it's like a pivotal moment, isn't it? Think about it that way. I've done nearly 800 videos at this point on YouTube. I say this a lot. Like once you've done a certain amount, does it really matter if you do more? So I could do another 700, 800. Let's say I do another 800 in another year or two. And let's say I stop at 9 books for a period. Well, what's next? What's next? Oh, I can explore this. Okay, it's costing me per month, but at least I feel like I'm contributing in a different direction towards my own legacy and branding. That's important. So I'm not, I know if to have, for instance, think about it this way: if you approached a PR company and you wanted them to advertise you in some way, it probably costs a lot of money. Let's say I approached them and said, "Can you feature me in a magazine or a newspaper?" and do the whole spew, create a template and stuff. It would cost a lot of money. I don't know how much. But with this, I can have 13 artists. So rather than just have one article somewhere, I can feature on their website 13 times in the year. And they give you the template as well, so I can format it ahead of time and then provide them the work. And I quite like the idea of that. So even if, even if it doesn't work out, I gave it a shot. And anyway, the other side to that, before we wrap up, is I've asked about 4 times because I kept being reluctant. Part of me is just reluctant because I'm a bit independent. So I'm like, I'm not sure. It sounds like it's going to cost me too much money, and I don't really, not sure really. Even though part of me is interested, but it's like the cost, so I'm bouncing it back. And I just kept asking, like, with my because I'm spiritual, so I'm asking my tarot cards. And I kid you not, when the first time they approached, it was so positive. The cards, it was leading towards success. And every time I've asked since that, I keep getting this card. Now I'm not shuffling for this card, so this is just I've picked it out because it's the card I kept getting, and I'm trying to show people. It's like I get this a lot from my journey at the moment. Weirdly enough, like I've put the work after this card. This is 7. On the 8, you're enjoying the fruits of your labor. So the next stage after this, so when it moves over to the next thing, all of a sudden they've come off, and I'm enjoying the success from it all. And I asked about this, and it's the same card. So it's almost like it's adding more to the tree. It's adding more layers to it before it all comes off. So it's successful. And the way I see it is that if once you've got too many on, they're going to fall off. That's how I see it. So to keep getting this card, it's a very positive card. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm getting this consistently, then it means I'm supposed to do this. So that's what ultimately really convinced me to take the meeting, because I was going to delay it because I'm not in a position yet. I was going to delay it and just say, look, maybe we're better off just doing it in May. So I asked, should I delay it? And I can't remember the card now. I got a negative card for it when I suggested delaying the meeting. And it said, no, don't delay the meeting. I was like, okay, we'll take the meeting. And it was good. And I felt good during it, and I felt good after. So for me, it's something that I think I would enjoy contributing. It'd be like, look, it'd be nice to feature for free, wouldn't it? That's the ideal world. And when you're successful, you probably will get approached for things. Maybe you get even paid for it. But even if you don't, like for instance, okay, when you start out, you're going to have to pay to contribute. Okay, let's say you're really successful. Maybe they don't pay you to contribute. They don't charge you to contribute, but they don't pay you either. It's just exposure. Because that's how podcasts work. People probably don't realize that. I don't know if any podcast pays people money. I think, from my understanding, pretty much all of them are free. They're guests. What do the guests get? They get exposure. They don't gain money from it, but they gain exposure from it. So it's a win-win. The people who create the podcast get a guest to create more content, helps build their channel up. The other person gets exposure. So you do win. So anyway, if you do it well enough, I guess you better feature on other magazines and feature in other things, but you have to start somewhere. And sometimes it's just going to cost a bit to start the process, get those wheels moving, And I'm prepared to invest in me. So I don't feel like I wouldn't be able to contribute. I think I'll be able to make good articles. I think I'll be able to contribute in different areas. And it gives me a starting point beyond my books and videos. And I actually like that, to be totally honest, because at the moment, I wouldn't want to commit to, like, for instance, if someone approached me to be featured in a newspaper or magazine, you did a column, I'm not saying someone would, but let's say they did, I don't know if I want to commit to that on a regular basis for an indefinite period of time. I've got my own projects. I like the fact that I would know the situation here. It's like one a month. I can easily do that. I could do that now. Give me a topic. I could just write it and it'd be done in an hour or two. Done. It's just finished. It's not a problem. Doesn't interfere with much. Because that was part of like the fee process. There was a fee where you could pay more, but you have longer to. You can still get your 13 articles, but there's no time limit. Because once you do this to other one, it's like 12-month period. So you are locked into 12 months. So if you don't do all the articles in that 12-month period, you can't. It's not indefinite opening. You'd have to then do a new membership. Whereas I'm pretty confident I could easily do the 13. And then hopefully the profile stays a bit visible, but I know the articles will. Anyway, I just thought I'd provide an update really on that. It's just for people, really. We've all got to start somewhere, and we're all at different stages of our journey. You do get this global awards thing. I weren't really sure what the hell that was, to be totally honest. He did say about it, but I thought, I don't know how legitimate that is in terms of people really caring. But he did say that when they did their awards, it had 3 million. It's had 3 million views on it. People really engaging with that, like reposting it and sharing it amongst their friends. And I guess if you featured in it. But yeah, I mean, reality is, it's finding your niche, and this fits the area that I'm operating in. I'm just at the moment a small fish in a very big pond, and it's just getting out of that little pond and putting yourself in the big pond and just starting to figure out your path in there and getting exposure. And that's just what it's about. And if it's going to cost to get exposure, whatever way you do it. So I like the fact they're transparent about it. Other people transparent about it. The people that it's not for will take exception, won't they? But they're probably not ready for what it can do. For me, the work's done. I just need that exposure. And I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a promoter, a self-promoter. I don't like social media. So all that goes against me. I'd rather just create. And this allows me just to create and then let them do the work. And then hopefully things start improving. Anyway, that's it. My nose is itching like crap. I don't know why. But yeah.